If there is Hashem b'simcha, simcha is a very big thing in our life. Simcha means extending beyond yourself. Simcha comes from really extending beyond yourself and tapping into a higher self and connection to Hashem, Emunah. If there is Hashem b'simcha. So whenever we are at any point during the year, we've got to ask ourselves, what is the avoda? What's the avoda I'm meant to do? Everything in our life, by the way, is an avoda. What am I meant to be? What work am I doing? Sleeping is an avoda. What are we meant to do with sleep? How long are you meant to sleep? Why are you meant to sleep? Eating is an avoda. How are you meant to eat? Everything's an avoda. So what is the avoda of this time that we have to do b'simcha? The avoda of this time we have to do b'simcha is the avoda of pain.
Sorrow.
Pain. How do you deal with pain?
Pain is k'ev.
The avoda of this time is, Hashem says there's different times. There is Sukkot, and Sukkot is about simcha, and Pesach is about beating your puffed up ego and having matzah, and everything's got its time. So the avoda of now is pain. How do you deal with pain in a healthy, happy way? That's the question, because many people are dictated by their pain, and it becomes their reality, and that's not helpful. So we've got to really ask ourselves, what is the avoda? What's the avoda of pain? What's it there to teach us? What's it here for? Nothing's meaningless. We all have difficult things in our life. We've got to work out how we're going to use this to connect to our essential being, which is one of simcha. That's one of simcha. Rabbi Nachman says, Ma sha'olam rechokim me'Hashem yitbarach ve'ein miskavin alav yitbarach rak machmas she'ein hem yishuv hadas. Which basically means the reason we're not connected to our Hashem and our deepest self is because we don't have yishuv hadas. And yishuv hadas really means settled being, settled mind. Our minds are very all over the place a lot of the time, and that's what causes our suffering in our life. So I don't know if many people know my story. I lived in Asia for 6 years doing silent meditation retreats and martial arts. And one thing we had in my retreat center in Thailand, I used to go for many 10-day silent retreats, and there was no reading, no writing, no listening to music, no phones, no distractions. We had a pond in the middle of the retreat center, and we used to sit by the pond and we'd just watch. And the pond's very clear. The pond's very clear, the surface is shining, and you can see all the way to the bottom of the pond. But there were two things that would ruin that. Either if someone threw a pebble in. You throw a pebble, you throw something into it, you've now got ripples. So once you've got ripples, it's not clear anymore, it's not shining anymore, and you can't see to the bottom anymore. There's another thing that happens is if someone jumps into the pond. You jump into the pond and all the sediment, all the stuff comes up from the bottom of the pond, and now the pond's full of stuff and it's dirty. But what always happens, if you just learn to go and sit on the side and watch, the sediment always settles down again. And the tranquility always comes back again. And this is what Yishuv Hadas is. Yishuv Hadas is the clear, tranquil, not got loads of smoke in your eyes type way of being. So the reason we don't connect to our natural state of peace is really menuchat hanefesh. Menuchat hanefesh really means peace of being. Just everything's okay. Menuchat hanefesh is because we don't have Yishuv Hadas. We don't know how to deal with the ripples and the pebbles and the sediment and the stuff that keeps coming up in our life. So that's the avoda of this. Please.
What if someone throws in something that stays there?
Someone throws a dirty diaper, then you can send someone in to go and take it out. You're never stuck. You're never stuck. Whatever someone's going to throw in there, if it floats, then you can take it out, and if it doesn't float, then it goes to the bottom with everything else. So Rashi actually teaches us the secret of dealing with pain. It was 2 weeks, 3 weeks. When was Hukat? Hukat. Parshat Pinchas, Rashi teaches us, why do people not be able to deal with pain? Because we don't know how to deal with pain. He says, Ki ein lo makom b'toch libo sheyagor sham hatzar. Because we don't have a place in our heart to put that pain. And there are two major things we have to learn from this. We don't have a place in our heart to put the pain. The first thing is, most of us don't like pain. You know why?
It's painful.
It's painful. We don't like pain. It's painful, so I don't want to give it a place in my heart. I'm going to try and escape it. I'm going to repress it. I'm going to pretend I don't have it. We just don't want to face it. We're escaping it. We're thinking it. The way to deal with emotions, there are two extremes of emotional imbalance. One extreme is you're completely controlled and overwhelmed by your emotions, making all your decisions based on your emotions, just an emotional whirlpool of emotions. The other end of the scale is Englishmen, which is we don't have emotions, or we pretend we don't have emotions, we hide our emotions, completely cut off from emotions.
It's also 4 emotions.
So the first person, there's no place in their heart for the emotions. Their emotions are taking up everything. The emotions are all over the place. And the second person, I'm blocking my heart to even feeling any emotion. So Rashi says to us, the way to deal with emotion, the way to deal with pain, at first, is to feel it. I feel in pain now. And I'm not trying to escape it, and I'm not blaming, and I'm not perpetuating the pain either. It's his fault, it's her fault, it's because of this in my situation, and it's just, I feel in pain now. That's, one of my students came up to me the other day and he said, I'm feeling in a lot of pain, what should I do? And I said, you should feel in a lot of pain. And he didn't appreciate that so much. But the only way you're ever going to process it, is to let it be felt, to validate your pain, to acknowledge and validate it. I found this with my children as well. Children get upset about things, and as a grown-up, you're like, why are you so upset, you know? It's not so bad. How about this? It's not so bad. Oh, how dare you say that to someone? You're not so, even if you think it's not so bad. How dare you say that? You say to them, I hear that's really bad. I hear that. And very often I find with my children, if I validate their emotions, then they're kind of okay then. It's like, okay, I just wanted you to validate my emotions. I don't want you to validate. So many people, for example, they get upset. I feel upset by something, and then they say to themselves, I really shouldn't feel upset by this. So how does that help? It doesn't help, because now you're upset that you're upset. You just got upset with yourself for being upset, so now you're double upset. People also get overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed, but then they get overwhelmed that they're overwhelmed. Being overwhelmed in itself isn't actually that bad. You could just be like, I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed right now, and that's okay. But what we do is we build it. Oh no, I'm overwhelmed, and then I can't deal with it. And we're getting overwhelmed that we're overwhelmed. We're getting upset that we're upset. We're getting frustrated that we're frustrated. And we're not giving a place in our heart to feel how we feel. I feel this way. It's okay. Why am I running away? By the way, if you're running away from it and repressing it, and you're not feeling it, you're just building it. And if you're thinking about it too much and saying why and I wish it wasn't and why me, it's not fair, you're just building it. So anything you try to do, if you overthink it or completely ignore it, it's just as you're building it. So at first you've got to sit and be like, this is how I feel, and it's okay. I'm not a bad person for feeling this way. I'm not wrong for feeling this way. And I don't even want to escape right now from feeling this way. I just feel how I feel. Very, very first thing, validate how you feel, acknowledge your feelings. Second thing we did learn from this Rashi is that you need a place in your heart for it. Somewhere in your heart, which means that it's not your whole heart. It's not your whole, it's not your whole reality. There's a place. There's a time and a place, and we got to go there, but in general, we got the rest of our life. We want to be basimcha, we want to be living our life. So we're not repressing it, but we're saying, you're not everything, you're not my whole reality. There are many people who come up to me and they basically identify as their pain. I am the one whose parents got divorced. That's who I am. I've become that. Their status or their experience or events in their life, that becomes their whole being. So that also means you're not making a place in your heart. That means it's become your whole heart. It's become your whole identity. Also very, very, very unhealthy. We've got to know when to feel it, how much to feel it, and then carry on living our life. I've got lots of examples of this. I have a student, an older lady, and she had a daughter died in a car crash, a 12-year-old daughter. So for 3 years, that was it, her whole life. And she said to me, and it's very true in a way what she said. She said, I can never be happy again, because if I'm happy again, I'll be betraying my daughter. How could a mother who lost a 12-year-old daughter ever be happy again? If I'm happy, betray my daughter. So I validated her feelings. I said, I hear why you might think that. It's awful. But then we moved round to the place which was, if you don't feel pain ever again, that might be betraying her. But if you also don't feel happy, that in a way is betraying her as well. Because she wants you to be happy. So feeling pain is okay. You should feel pain for the rest of your life, but that shouldn't be your whole life. You could set aside time during the day. I'm going to feel my pain. You're outside every day. You can have pictures. So I'm not scared of my pain. I'm not scared of my pain. I'm not trying to avoid my pain. Many people, their whole life is just to avoid pain. No public speaking in case I make a mistake. No committing myself in case I'll be vulnerable. No. So people build a whole life around, I've got to escape pain. I don't want to put myself in any situation where I'll ever feel pain. So then they're living in this prison of, I'm very comfortable here, I'm not feeling pain. And the truth is that your neshama, your soul, is hiding behind that pain. That's where your neshama is, it's behind the pain. Once you stop being scared of pain, then it's not so scary. It's still painful, it's not so scary, it's not your whole reality, because I can deal with it. I've got the avoda of pain. What am I meant to do with my pain? So now she's great, this woman's great, she cries every day. Every day she cries, but she's also happy every day. She also does stuff every day. Sorry, this is a bit intense. Just happened 2 days ago. I was introduced to another older lady, Mexican lady, and she was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago. And she's basically been fighting for her life. I'm going to say it differently. She's been fighting not to die for 2 years. That's what she'd be doing. This operation, this treatment, her whole life has now become the fight against death. So I sat with her and I heard her pain, and I said to her, fighting not to die is no way to live. You gotta live. You gotta live. Now you can be in pain, I'm gonna cry with you. We'll cry together and you should, but you gotta live. What do you love doing? And she said, painting, I'm a painter. I said, when was the last time you painted? She goes, I haven't painted for 2 years, I've been fighting death. And I said, you gotta start painting now. Next day, set up an either, why not? Do something. You gotta do something. Let's live. We want to live. We're a religion of life. Oh, hello.
Yeah, grieving you.
Yeah. So live. So this woman, it was a complete shift. She was like, I'm just gonna live now. I'm gonna live. So this is really now the third level, and this is the main level. As we said before, pain isn't meaningless. If pain is meaningless, then we're in big trouble. If pain is meaningless, you got no child, there's nothing you could do with it. It doesn't mean anything. But we believe pain has purpose. There's a purpose to my pain. There must be something to my pain. Otherwise, there's no point in having the pain. People are like, I can't remember. Last time I spoke here, but there's a very big difference between pain and suffering. Pain is a feeling. You bang your knee, it's very painful. I feel lonely. That's painful. Suffering is your mind not dealing with the pain in a healthy way. Why am I lonely? I wish I wasn't lonely. Other people aren't lonely. I'll always be lonely. It's not fair that I'm lonely. I hate being lonely. So your suffering is your mind running around your pain and actually building it, rather than just, let's get our mind out of the way and just feel our pain. I'm going to feel my pain. And by the way, it's very hard to do that. Why? Because we don't like to feel our pain. Why? Because pain's painful. I remember I trained in Shaolin, and my master was this little Chinese guy, and he was a complete psycho, really, but an amazing martial artist. And he couldn't speak any English, but he had a bamboo stick, and he basically used to do these lunges in very hot Chinese heat. He used to do this is like these lunges. I can't do it anymore. It was like 20 years ago. Lunge, and then he'd be like, 1, and you go 2. Oh, I can't do it anymore. 3. So after about half an hour of doing that, you're like this, and literally your whole body, you can't move. You're stuck. Your whole knees and hips and everything is stuck. And then he's like, he counts to 3. 1, 2, 3. If you don't move your leg, he gets the bamboo stick, bounce, smacks the back of your leg, bam, and then you move. You move. And then you learn very quickly to move your leg before he hits you. But the only English phrase he knew was, no pain, no gain. That was his thing. No pain, no gain. If I could have beaten him up, I would have. But he was a martial arts master. But I wanted to beat him up a lot. But there is something to what he says. There's got to be something that we're getting, that we're meant to get, that we're meant to do. What are you meant to do? So this is the first key. How do you stop your pain becoming suffering? When you find meaning. Pain that has meaning doesn't turn into suffering. You get it? Think of it. My wife says childbirth is very painful. I didn't feel anything, but apparently she was screaming. Very painful. But it wasn't suffering. Why not? Because there's a meaning behind the pain. I understand why I have to have this pain. I understand why I have to have this pain. Therefore, I'm not saying why me is not fair. I wish I did. I know what is it. Going to the gym is very painful. It might be meaningful. Well, you could deal with pain when you understand why. So you've got to always look, what's the meaning? What's the purpose? What's this pain for? How am I going to grow? Pain is always there because we're going to grow through our pain. That's our point. Ben hametzarim. We're being squashed in order to grow. That's what we're trying to do. What happens if you can't find the meaning in your pain? You're messed up then. Let's say horrible things do happen. Now, I can't find the meaning in this pain. Then what do?
Write the book.
You do what?
Write the book of Job.
You write the book of Job. So what's the book of Job all about?
Ask for more money.
He's asking these questions.
And what's the answer?
That in the end he accepts that he was wrong.
In the end, he accepts that there is meaning, even if I can't work out what it is. And that's called emunah. That is what emunah is. Emunah is, I don't get it. I can't work out why this pain is happening in my life, but I know for a fact that there is meaning. I don't know what it is. I might never know. You will know, by the way. When we die, we'll know everything. But there's a reason for this. And I think you've all had times in your life where bad things happened, and then you work out, oh, I see why that had happened to me. You know what? I actually started Shiur and Beer on a Wednesday night 3 years ago, and on that Sunday morning I had a child born, emergency cesarean section 3 months early, 27 weeks, and it was a mess really. He was in an incubator with a respirator and a feeding tube up his nose, and he weighed 1 kilogram, what's that, 2.2 pounds about. It was literally this big. We weren't allowed to touch him for 3 days, and it wasn't a good scene. I called my dad the next day, and I bought my dad tefillin. My dad's the best man in the world. I bought him tefillin about 10 years ago. He never really wanted to put them on. So I said, Dad, you just had a grandson. He was born 3 months early. And we have an idea that in Judaism we can do something, a mitzvah in the merit of someone else. So could you put on tefillin? My dad was like, sure. Starts putting on tefillin. So that's just one thing. Like, Baruch Hashem, my son's well. Let's go there. My son's well now. We have the bris 3 months later. It's January. We have the bris 3 months later. I think actually on the day, either on his due date or the day he was meant to have his bris, had he been born 3 months later. My parents were there. 2 weeks after the bris, my dad get diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Within 1 month, the cancer spread to his lungs, his liver, his abdomen, and his blood. So he's now given about 4 months, not so long, 4 or 5 months. My mum and my sister are both doctors and say you have to move to England, just spend time with dad. So I just got this baby just out of the incubator, got him home. I just moved my whole family. We go to England to spend my dad's last few months together. I'm learning with him. He's putting on talis, tefillin, tzitzit, asher yatzah, starts keeping Shabbos more. No phone, no TV on Shabbos, growing, learning, chemotherapy. Very, very long story short, on July the 15th, in 2 weeks from now, my whole family are going back to England to spend another summer with my dad and my mum, who are doing very well, Baruch Hashem. So, this might be a strange thing to say, but my son being born 3 months prematurely and my father getting pancreatic cancer is what gave my father his life. Basically, saved his life. So I actually said to someone the other day, if you die earlier, but with more emunah, it's much better than dying 20 years later, but with not emunah. The whole purpose of life is emunah. So you can look around at your life, other people's lives. Their lives are better than me, they've got this that I want, I don't have this. And in Olam Hazeh, in this world, maybe they are having what on the surface looks like a better life. But because they're not going through your pain and your challenges, it's harder for them to build emunah. Because you can only build emunah through pain and challenge. So if you take your pain and challenge and you build emunah through it, even though your life was more challenging than theirs, the whole game of life is building emunah. So you actually you win in the end. You also have to have emunah that's actually true. And it's going to happen. But we have emunah. There's more to life than this world. So what we have to do is, how do we react to pain? Get up and do something. Do it. Don't be a victim. You can't be a victim to our pain. Now, by the way, when I say don't be a victim to your pain, that doesn't mean you can never curl up in your bedroom and cry your eyes out. That's okay. Why? Because that's really your pain. But then get up and do something, and then go back and cry your eyes out, and then get up and do something. Keep going. You've got to keep going. Do something. Make something of your life. That isn't your whole reality, and in fact, that pain, that difficult thing, could actually make the whole rest of your life much greater. If you're using that as your impetus to be greater, you have to. I'm going to stop telling horrible stories in a second. My last one is a very close friend of mine got divorced, and it was terribly painful for him, and it was horrible. And I said to him, we're very, very close friends, so he could deal with it. I felt his pain, I validated pain, sat with him, cried with him. And I said, you've got a choice now. You're either going to become a mess or a master. A mess or a master. And he heard what I was saying. You can't just be normal now. You can't carry on your normal life at this moment. You have to become greater. It doesn't work because you can't keep it. The pain is so hard that it's going to keep putting you down. You know the famous Rambam says if a tree is all the way this way, but you want to get it into the middle, you've got to pull it all the way the other way to find the balance. So if you're going through something very, very difficult, you have to become much greater than you ever were going to be if it hadn't happened. And that's the purpose, that's the reason, that's the purpose of that pain. So, yeah.
You are saying that to recover from the pain, to understand that there is a meaning for that.
One very clarification. I never said recover from the pain.
No, yeah.
I never say recover from the pain. The pain's the pain. You're not meant to recover from the pain. You're not meant to. You can't let the pain become your life. You gotta. What's the avoda of pain? That's what this is all about. What is the avoda of pain?
Yeah. But to get this meaning in the way to be like not totally swallowing by this pain. The way to do it is to get a meaning from that.
And if you can't find the meaning, emunah.
Yeah, but most of the time, this is the point. When you try to get meaning, some moments you will feel that this is the meaning for sure. But some moments, if the pain is strong in this, you will feel like maybe it's not that. You can't be sure that the meaning that you found is the good one. And it's the same for Emunah. The fact of Emunah is that if Hashem wanted like that we would be all of us like 100% sure, would show something like in the way that we would be. The principle of Emunah is to go and find Hashem. So it's our work to go and find Hashem for that. And so for that again, it's like some moments you have lack of Emunah, you are not 100% sure. So in any situation, or you find the meaning, you can't be very, very sure of that. Or you find you have the emunah. For sure, we are all tzaddikim. We all have 100% emunah. But sometimes, like you need 105, right? And you don't get it, and you are never sure to understand why you live the situation that you have to live. And this. You have to trust that it's good for you and this.
So that's emunah.
But in the moments that are difficult.
Then your moment when you don't have your emunah, you have your pain and you cry. But then you do something. Even though I feel pain and I'm crying, I'm still going to go out there.
You will never be sure 100%.
Emunah you can build.
To solve the pain.
Emunah you
like
can
to
build.
say that's done with this pain.
Emunah you can build. But once again, what do you mean I'm done with the pain? I never said you should be done with the pain. That's the point is not to get rid of the pain. The point is to learn to use the pain. I didn't say get rid of the pain. I want to make that very clear.
Okay.
The avodah of pain isn't to get rid of the pain. The avodah of pain is to know what the point of the pain is. And maybe at some point there is some pain you'll be able to get rid of, that's fine. But there's some pain you're not meant to get rid of. You're meant to feel pain on Tisha B'Av. You're meant to feel pain. If someone died and you didn't feel pain, that would be weird. You should feel pain. Pain means you care. But you could definitely build emunah a lot. I'll give you another one little example. It's not so traumatic, but I got lots of my students in America and Canada. They feel very, very isolated due to anti-Semitism. They feel very persecuted and isolated and upset. So I say, okay, you feel upset. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit in your room and everything just being upset? Or are you going to use the upset, it's good to be upset, and do something? Go, build an organization, do something. Because why not? What else are you going to do? You've got a choice. I'm going to be a victim, or I'm not going to be a victim. I'm not going to be a victim. I'm going to actually do something. I'm going to use my pain. I'm going to go, I'm going to grow. I don't see what the other choice is at this point. I've just got to. I have to do this. So, you see this in any area. Do I just sit back and surrender and be, what can I do? This is it, this is awful. Or you say, no, I'm gonna step up. Sorry, did you have a...
Oh yeah, sure. Like, what do you possibly suggest, if you have a suggestion, how you like psychologically balance the fact that, let's say you have pain, but there's something you can do to fix it. Like this woman who you told to paint. So like on the one hand, she has to do loads of things to try to get better. She has to work really hard on that, but on the other hand, you said it was like a bit the opposite, like to accept it and give a reason to it. So like you're giving a reason to it as if you're meant to have it, but you're also meant to fight it at the same time because there's something you can do to get rid of it, possibly.
You mean like the cancer itself or whatever?
Yeah, like I get how one would do that, but if you have any suggestion that one could balance that better, like you're fighting an issue at the same time because you want to beat it and not suffer, because there's no reason for you to suffer if you have cancer, and but yet you want to do that.
So it's the whole hishtadlut and emunah question. How much effort should you put in? And it's always going to be, for us, because we're not tzaddikim, we have to do the normal human amount of effort. So go and have treatment, go and do the normal amount of effort, but it's a scale. The more emunah you have, the less effort you need to do, but you've got to be very honest with yourself how much emunah you have. So,
you should get rid of the pain, like as in it's not a mitzvah to suffer.
Oh, 100%. If you can get rid of the pain, you should get rid of the pain, 100%. 100%.
Just like it's hard to balance like working really hard to get something when you've given it a reason. Like you said, it's really good that I'm suffering, so like it's teaching me to be a better person. But yeah, I'm trying to get rid of the suffering because I keep going to all these appointments. Sorry, it's a bad example, possibly something else that that someone would be suffering with, or like a social situation. Like they can socially make their situation better,
Yeah.
but yet they're learning something through feeling socially isolated. So I understand if you have any.
So this is the almost paradox of Ezehu Ashir, who is rich, Hasameach Bechalko. Hasameach Bechalko means happy with my lot. Oh, so I have no ambitions? I'm just happy with my lot? So what it means is, I'm not relying on the external world to make me happy. I'm relying on whatever situation I'm in at the moment, I need to be in, but I might need to be in this situation to work out how to get out of the situation. Saying that I need this situation right now doesn't mean I'm surrendering in. I'm just saying this is what I'm meant to be in forever. It means I'm going to grow. I want to get out of it. So yes, so you're 100% right. If you could get rid of it, get rid of it. You should. That's what I'm saying. We should all get rid of all our pain. That's the whole point. The whole point. If we can get rid of all our pain. And once again, the more emunah, although emunah gets rid of suffering, not gets rid of pain. Often it takes an external thing. You meet the person, you get the treatment, and that's good as well, but I'm not relying on that for my life. If I don't get the treatment, if I don't meet the person, if I don't do that, that doesn't mean I'm finished. I've still got the whole rest of my life. But I'm still going to try. I keep going. But I'm not going to let myself be worn down by the fight. So this is what this week's Parsha is about. Let's tie it in, come on. So Slavcha, we say that Im Eina Nili Mili. Nili. I thought I'd mention Nili tonight because she's been giving the classes. Im Eina Nili Mili. If you're not for yourself, who's going to be for you? So get up and do something. Slavchad's daughters, they were like, hold on, this is wrong. I love Eretz Israel. I want a place in Eretz Israel. So they got up and they did something about it. They didn't whine about it. They got up and said, this is what I want. Pesach Sheni, Lama Nigara, it's the same Lashon, using the same words as Slavchad's daughters. Why should we lose out? Go and stand up for yourself. If I can change, this is your answer to your question. If I can change it, I'm going to change it. Slavchad's daughters were like, let's change it. Pesach Sheni people, let's change it. I'm going to change it. If I can change it, I'm going to change it. If I can't change it, I'm going to accept it. That's healthy. Very healthy. So it's not a passive acceptance. And then you have another, what's the second part? Imani la'atzmi ma'ani. Shani. And it doesn't say rak la'atzmi, by the way, but this is a different class.
Shani la'atzmi.
Yeah. Shani la'atzmi.
That's an accurate version.
Will you come to all my talks?
What?
Will you come to all my talks to make sure I'm getting the quotes right? Thanks. Then you've got another level, which is feeling other people's pain. You feel other people's pain. Can you be there and move yourself to feel other people's pain? And I noticed this week's Parsha, you got Pinchas. Pinchas steps up, and so Pinchas is from the tribe of Levi, and he kills Cosby, Zimri, tribe of Shimon. So where do we see Shimon and Levi?
Sure.
This is one of my favorite things in the Torah, and everyone thinks I'm awful. But it's where Shimon and Levi wipe out the whole of Shechem. I love that. It's like, don't mess with my sister, man. I love it. It's like, that's not politically correct. I'm like, you can't mess with my sister, I'm going to kill you all. Like, Pasha. So they're the ones that are called Dina's brothers. Why are they called Dina's brothers? Because they were like, I'm feeling her pain, I'm feeling his pain, I'm going to kill everyone. I love it.
Why?
Got it?
Why?
I don't know. There's some animalistic. I'm not saying I'm
That's the
morally
thing,
correct.
It wasn't about pain.
Yeah,
It was
I'm not
about
saying I'm
pride.
morally correct
I
for
didn't know
loving
what I'm saying. Why?
But I'm just saying,
Why do you like it?
Revenge.
yeah,
It's about
because
pride.
don't mess with my sister. I don't know. I don't have a good answer to that question. If I thought about it, I'd have a better answer.
Well, obviously it was
Because honor has become an old-fashioned concept, but there's a value to honor.
Yeah. So, and Yaakov gets
But in a
upset
way,
with
like,
them,
we have a
and they're like,
people
"What? You're gonna let her treat my sister like that?" And Yaakov's like, "Yeah, all right, whatever." I love it. Anyway, so Shimon and Levi meet again here, but this time Levi, Pinchas, takes out Shimon. Shimon in this week's Parsha is using his wild passion for the wrong reason. Pinchas steps up and he does it in the right way. Is that it's not even his own pain, yeah, as Hashem says, you're avenging my pain. So Pinchas is standing up for someone else's pain. I'm going to take out, I'm going to do something about it. Oh, hello.
I just want to hear you make a bracha.
Thank you. Lovely.
Smarter than bracha.
Oh yeah, bracha. It's very hard to feel someone else's pain as much as you feel your own pain. But once you learn how to deal with your pain, then you can feel other people's pain better. Because if you can't deal with your own pain, you don't want to feel you can't. I got enough of my own pain. I can't feel your pain too. Once you understand how to deal with your pain, you're going to deal with it. You can deal with it. Oh, hello. So this is what Pinchas comes and does in this parsha. He steps up, stands up for Hashem's pain, the pain of the Shekhinah, the pain of, hold on, this isn't how it's meant to be. Who's going to stand up for Hashem? I'm going to stand up for Hashem. So really, as we still, what's the time, by the way?
8:15.
12, quarter to 10.
Is it worth it?
It's called being conscientious. I'm actually going to walk around and see what can I do to help people. I see pain and I'm not cutting myself out. I'm not blocking out pain. I'm going to see pain, I'm going to see what am I going to do about it. It's a completely different attitude to life and pain. What am I going to do about it? How's this moving me to do something? And you can only do that when you have Yishuv Das. This is really how we started. If you don't have Yishuv Das, you don't know what's going on. You're just like, this is all happening to me. What's that famous quote? Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Like it doesn't feel like that a lot. Happening for you. But if you have that attitude, if you have this positive attitude that I'm going to do, you know what, I'm just going to do something. Even if I can't, even if I know I'm not going to win, even if I know I'm going to die. It's called Mesiras Nefesh, by the way. Mesiras Nefesh means I'm willing to give up my whole self for what I believe is true. Most people, everything they do is either to avoid pain or to get pleasure. That's our motivation for everything. I'm avoiding pain. I do things I need to do to avoid pain. I need to take my medication. I need to go to that meeting. I need to do these things. I'd rather not, but if I don't, there are consequences. So I'm doing things to avoid pain. Or I'm doing things because I think they're going to give me pleasure. So that's our whole life, avoiding pain, getting pleasure. Pinchas and Judaism, the Rambam, says that shouldn't be your motivation. Your motivation should be because it's the right thing to do. I don't care about me. I'm going to do what is the right thing to do, no matter what. I'm going to do it. We actually learned this from Amalek. Amalek, like in the wrong way, he attacks Israel. He knows he's going to lose. They give the whole mashal about he jumps in the boiling bath and he cools it down a bit. You're going to get burned. He's like, I don't care. I'm so passionate about what I believe. I'm so passionate about hating Jews. I'm just going to die. I'm kamikaze. Die. So we've got to learn from that and do it the good way. We've got to learn that I'm just so passionate about doing the right thing. I'm so passionate about living my life. I'm so passionate about not being a victim. I'm so passionate about truth that I'm just going to do, like, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? If you're not willing to give up your life for something, what sort of life do you have, really? Well, I give up my life, I'm just going to fight. And we learn this from our Zaydi, Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu, Mr. Mesiras Nefesh. That is our thing. Hashem says to him, amazing, it's a beautiful idea. Basically, Hashem says, go and take your son, your only son, the one you love. Basically, everything you believe in, everything you love, you've been teaching people not to kill their children. I said you're going to have progeny from him. Go and take everything you believe in, everything you want, everything you love, everything, and sacrifice it. So what he was actually saying to Avram was sacrifice yourself. You've got to understand, for Avram, the Akedah, he was sacrificing his son, but he was really sacrificing himself. Because yourself is made up of your desires and your wants and your beliefs. He had to give up completely himself. Mesiras Nefesh is an amazing, powerful thing, by the way. It's a powerful thing. Because then you tap into your real self, obviously. And Pirkei Avot, who does Pirkei Avot compare Avram to in last week's Parsha? Bilam. That was a good clue. So it said, be like the Talmudim of Avram, have a good eye,
And Tova.
be humble, and don't be like Bilam, bad eye and tortured. How can you compare those? So I heard a beautiful idea. The Ran says this: was the Akedah a commandment? Was it an obligation? Did Hashem say, you must take your son up to the Akedah?
Hashem said, please.
Please, excellent. So this is what the Ran says. It's not how we usually learn it. He says, Kach na, please take him. Please. You don't have to. It makes it a much harder challenge. Much harder. If Hashem says you have to, you have to. But Hashem says, you know what? You don't have to, but I really want you to. Oh no. You don't have to, but I'm telling you, I'm Hashem, I really want you to do it. Abraham's like, get up in the morning, go and do it. Get up and do it. I don't care what I want. It's not about what I want. I'm not living for what I want. I'm living for what Hashem wants. By the way, when you're on a higher level, you realize that what Hashem wants for you is better than what you want for you. Anyway, so he says. Bilam, exact opposite. First night, Hashem says, I don't want you to go. Don't go, you cannot go. So Bilam comes back the second night and says, come on, are you sure? I don't care what you want. I want to go. Hashem says, if you want to go, you go. We let you go in the way you want to go. So he did the exact opposite. Bilam did the exact opposite of Abraham. Mesiras Nefesh. Mesiras Nefesh means my whole life isn't self-centered. My whole life is to live for something much bigger. To live for something much beyond myself. Do big things. And what stops us? Fear of pain. But once you don't fear pain anymore, then you don't have fear of pain. So then you can do things and you can fail. You can fail. Failure is not so bad. What does that mean about you? I don't get my sense of self based on my success and failure. I get my sense of self based on I'm really trying to do the right thing that I know is right. So I don't care if I fail or I succeed. So this is the avoda of pain. The avoda of pain is to make friends with it. Once again, to get rid of it if you can. I'm not saying don't get rid of it. Get rid of it if you can. I'm glad you clarified that. But you get rid of it by making friends with it. You get rid of it by using it, by doing something with it, becoming greater, by your pain, other people's pain. And that is where simcha comes in. He actually says, Misha nichnas av mimatim b'simcha, which means, and I tell this to my children, when your father comes in, you stop being so happy. That was a joke? It was a joke. When Misha nichnas av, when your father comes in, Misha nichnas av. So I come home from work and the kids are all playing and very happy. I'm like, kids, you got to actually do your homework, tidy up now. And they're like, oh, but I'm like, Misha nichnas av. You can't have simcha around me. But what does that mean? This is what I worked out today actually. Simcha is a state where you're completely beyond yourself. Simcha is based on emunah and just beyond anything. But if you're completely in a state of emunah and everything's okay and simcha, then it's hard to feel your pain. So we say we want you to feel in Av, we want you to try and feel your pain a bit. But not just for meaninglessly feeling pain. We want you to feel your pain because your pain is going to take you to much greater places than you could have been before. And that is how you do the Ivdu Es Hashem B'Simcha. How you do the avoda of pain B'Simcha. You do B'Simcha by expanding and knowing when to expand, when to contract, when to feel your pain, when to put it in its place. This is when you are putting it in my place, then I'm using it. Yes, Hashem. Any question? We should all be zeicher to not feel like, to not have pain to feel anymore. And yeah, go on.
What you're doing is a lot of pain.
Lacha shiddim am al kol panim.
What he said.
He started. He started.
What do you do when it's a lot of pain? Hello?
Yeah, when it's too much pain, like, you feel like you can't handle it. Oh, I understand what you're saying. To make me better.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the number one key, most powerful meditation technique there is. And you can only do this. By the way, a whole nother thing is a different class is you need to be nurturing yourself all the time. You need to be having foot massages, hot baths with lavender oil, glass of wine. You need to feel physically taken care of. Otherwise, if you then have emotional pain with physical not being looked after is very difficult to deal with. That's just a practical side things. But here is the most powerful meditation. I've just put up a 3-part free Jewish mindfulness series. I'll give you the details, but it's it talks about this a lot. Different types of meditation. There's hashkata, which means to quieten your mind. There's habata, which means to watch your thoughts. There's hitbaninut, which means to contemplate. And then there's something that I didn't find a good Hebrew word for, so I made one up. Chazmil. Chazmil means chazarat milim, to say a word over and over again, a word or a phrase. So we all know the Eastern word for that. I tried to chazmil. When you're feeling pain and you're saying it's too much for me, you just have to say to yourself, I know I can deal with this. I know I can deal with this. I know it. Now what's going to happen is, your mind's going to freak out. No, I can't. And you just sit there, because any other meditation technique, watching your thoughts, breathing, it doesn't work at that point. When you're in a state of trauma, by the way, if you're in any state of trauma, you need to ground yourself in physicality. Smell lavender oil, touch feet on the grass, bare feet on the grass, listen to soft music, and then to very gently soothe your heart. I know I can deal with this. I know I'm going to be okay. And your mind will be like, no, you're not. No. Your heart will be, no, you're not. Your mind knows you will be. Your mind has a moon. But how do you... Everyone says the biggest distance in the world is between your head and your heart. What's in between your head and your heart? Your mouth. So your mouth, you've got to, like a drip on the rock. Rabbi Akiva, drip on the rock. You just got to teach your heart, it's okay. Your heart's immature often. And you just got to teach them, I know I'm going to be okay, I'm sure I'll be okay, I'm sure it's going to be okay, I know I'm going to be okay. With self-nurture. And that's how you're being with the pain. You're holding the pain. You've got to hold yourself in the pain. And then when it's not so intense, you've got to say, okay, what am I going to do with this? I've got to go and do something. So fine. The point I'm trying to make is, we can feel our pain without letting it completely, without wallowing in it and being a victim and letting us get us down. And the whole point of the pain is to turn it, the Tisha B'Av itself turns from pain into, you get up and you move and you do and you keep going. B'ezras Hashem, we should all have the strength to be able to face our pain, tap into simcha. B'ezras Hashem. What a joyful session that was.
Shkoyach, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you so much. It's so good to have the bear back with us.
Dov Ber. Rabbi Dov Ber.
So let's give it up for Rabbi Dov Ber. Thank you so much for rearranging, making yourself available for us tonight.
Pleasure. I'm sorry, just quickly. litmindfulness.org. LIT mindfulness.org. Free 3-part. It's a very basic mindfulness tools and meditation tools with support that you're going to implement in your life.
Can you put that on the Shiur and Beer page?
Yeah.
B'ezras Hashem.
Point of the event page, yeah.
So thank you to the Rabbi, thank you to everyone for coming. Just a little word. We want to give as much as we can. We want everyone to have to their heart's desire. Baruch Hashem, we counted 47 people here tonight, which is fantastic. It's amazing. And we've had an abundance of food, of meat and drink, but 47 people can go through a lot of food. We only had around 20 people that prepaid or pre-registered. So we don't mind how many people there are, but it's better if you book, then we can cater accordingly. We'll have even more food. The freezer's full of more food than we bought, which we're going to keep for next time. But we'll put more of it out if we know more of you are coming. So if you book, it's the right thing to do. You're going to come to barbecue, we need to know who's coming, and it just makes it easier to cater. So that it'll be appreciated. But thank you to everyone for coming. Hopefully you'll come every week. We're going to have amazing speakers, whether it's Mordechai, we have Benji Elson on the lineup as well. And in 4 weeks' time, we already have lined up Mattis Yahu Brown, who's an awesome rabbi, is an awesome musician, is a legend, a very, very special guy. And it's going to be a kumzitz because it'll be after the 3 weeks. So it's going to be very, very special. We look forward to seeing you at future events. Thank you all for coming. And you can enjoy your time here for a little bit longer, but then we'll also have to kick you out as well. maybe I'll give you to around 10:30, depending how well behaved you are.
Thank you. Chairs should go here, chairs should go there. Johnny, where should chairs go?
Sorry.